I am so excited about that segment with Sherry Fontanes with the recipe of the week. It's your boy, Buddy Mother Lover O, with my man, JHP. This right here on the Ebony and Ivory Show of Variety. And it looks like we got somebody visiting up in the studios. James, what's good?
Well, we're out here doing big things with Ebony and Ivory, a show of variety, and we're going to talk about some new favorite competitors or just competitor of the week compared to me and your first ever LFF United States champion, the man who did it all for the ladies, the one, the only, Harvey Luster.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. James Hahn. That's right. Harvey Luster everything for the ladies. Harvey Luster is pleased to be here with the James Hahn and the Bobby O'Reilly. Oh, yeah.
So, has your life changed since you became the LFF United States champion?
Uh, Harvey Luster's life may not have changed so much as Harvey Luster has kind of dedicated himself to taking on some responsibilities outside of his normal duties, taking care of the ladies and trying to be a representative of the United States.
Right on, right on. We dig that. So with this, we're going to do a new competitor. Me, I'm taking one straight out of the package that I've never even looked at, Bobby. And I'm going against one of the best deck builders in the LFF.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the man came through and for the ladies became the champion of the United. I mean, he's the champion of the U.S. All the ladies in the U.S. He's the champion of them. Like he gets to say hello to anyone he wants to.
Oh, Harvey Luster's been the ladies' champion of the whole world for years. It's just
Oh,
now getting the notoriety within the LFF of being a
oh,
champion.
I understand. I'm sorry, Harv. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
So
sorry.
with you being our first guest on this, guest honor, you go first with your competitor. I don't
All
want to be
right.
rude.
Th-
You're the
Thank you,
champ.
sir. That's most egregious of you. Now, Harvey Luster brought with him one of his favorite competitors. Not necessarily his most competitive, but just one that he loves to play for some personal reasons. It is his good friend, the late Mr. Matthew Stevens.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay.
this gimmick is a very simple, straightforward, fun gimmick. It doesn't complex the games at all. When you hit a strike, you're just drawing an additional card. So it's something that Matt Stevens himself would have played a very useful gimmick, a very straightforward, simple gimmick, but it allows for some really interesting deck builds.
Okay.
Uh, Harvey Luster does tend to run a few of the finishes in here. There is one generic. Harvey Luster likes to run the downriver lock because Matt Stevens has an 8 technique. So the downriver lock gives you a little bit more finishing power, and it's got a recursion ability like most of the others that have the skill requirement. Now, as everybody knows, Harvey Luster is partial to the sheep shooter, but unfortunately, Mr. Matt Stevens does not have the submission skill to run that.
And with you
But
being
Harvey Lu-
the lift for the ladies, you definitely love a downriver lock, right?
that's right. That's right.
Downriver. Yeah.
That's right. Take that love boat down the river.
Yeah.
And Harvey Luster does run Matt's strike finish, the suppressing fire, and he does run the Jack Hunter stunner, because of course Matt Stevens was the kayfabe Jack Hunter. So
Okay.
that's where part of the build comes into the deck. If you look, the suppressing fire, anytime you have Big Boot or the Spear in play, this card can stop a finished submission, or I'm sorry, finished grapple. Harvey Luster misspoke there. Uh, so that allows you to play two of Matt Stevens' favorite cards. Everybody knows Matt was a big guy. He was a tall guy, and he loved those big dramatic moves that the big guys did. The big boot.
Right.
Even
Okay.
even the T.J. Marconi, he's a big fella, and he likes that.
Did
And
what size shoe did Matt wear? What was he booting people with?
Matt's shoe size, I believe Matt was wearing like a 13 or a 14.
Yeah, give him the
Yeah,
boot. Give him that boot.
yeah.
Don't look like that chump Marconi.
And
Anyway.
he was a blue collar fella, working class, so he had the big work boots.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. he could leave some trademarks on that face. And so, the whole build really is going to focus around your strikes. You're going to place some cards in here that are gonna let you look for your strikes. Things like your elbow drop. It's a strike that lets you put one on top of your deck. But because of the gimmick, if you hit the elbow strike, you get to draw a card. So that's basically adding that card to your hand in kind of a sneaky roundabout ways. You know, you are going to run like the big boot in here too. Just get you some more draw power. The big boot normally only draws a card for every other strike, but when you hit a strike, you draw. So it draws itself. You get to draw multiple cards. You can draw 3, 4 cards off of that one play. You know, the spear is a good defensive one in there, as opposed to worrying about drawing your cards once you clear out some of your opponents. So, again, it's not a super complex build, but there are some fun, interesting options there.
You see this, Mr. Luster? This man, we're doing a show and he's hungry.
Yeah, somebody going for a snack break sounds like.
So, with Matt's other finish, like with Matt's character in general. You there?
Yeah.
Put my camera back on.
Oh, okay. You get your munchies?
I don't know why you gonna hide me. They know what I do. Okay.
So, Mr. Luster, if you could run any card in a Matt Stevens deck, which one would it be?
I could run any card in this deck, regardless of skill requirements, etc.
Yes.
Honestly, Harvey Luster would still say probably just the big boot. Because again, it's a thing kind of true to the heart. That's a little poetic. Just the memory of Matt Stevens, and he loved the Hulk Hogan doing the big boot. The Undertaker did it for a long time with the WWE. And that was one of those things that he just always really enjoyed. Decks that it may have not been the best card in, that he still a lot of times would run that card. Just it was one of his favorite wrestling moves.
All right, Harvey, my character that I just opened out of the pack is, I believe, an old school one, Kid Fresh.
Oh, getting fresh with us. Yes. The Kid Fresh, man. Now, he's got some interesting finishes in there, too, that they create some very interesting choices.
His gimmick is when you roll agility for your turn, search your deck for one finish and put it on top of your shuffled deck. The big thing about this is it doesn't say it has to have the logo of the finish.
Yeah, that's right.
So his gimmick will work on a generic finish, which there is quite a bit of people, even in your Matt Stevens, you're running a generic finish with the downriver lock.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, nowadays, you've got the schoolboys, and the backslide is an off card. And we've got all these other conditionals, Crowd Leader 3, this card's also a finish. Crowd Leader 5, also a finish. You've got the ones at 7, 8, 9. If you have a certain lead in play, they can also be a finish. So there's a lot of options that can be built into that, and he can be really interesting.
So I would run. I'm just now looking at these finishers for the first time, and I would actually run all these finishers with him.
Bobby, you need a drink after all that eating, Bobby.
I am grand. Thank you for asking, Harvey. I appreciate it.
Harvey Luster does not know why you be eating so much. You've been hanging out with RVD, getting the munchies?
Listen, RVD is RVD. I'm Bobby, Ohio. I ain't gonna go into that right now. We're trying to keep it PG-13, Mr. Luster. PG-13.
Harvey Luster duress does not mean to interrupt the man. Just noticed a little lip smacking there. Wanted to address the situation.
Was it too loud? Smack softer.
So his finish strike is called the skid mark. 1 to technique, 1 to strike, and you get to draw a card. Not horrible, but not great either. You could run probably better generic finish strikes.
That's pretty good for a card that's got such a name as a skid mark. You would think skid mark would be much more negative than that.
Right?
Skid mark seems like it just That'll leave a bad taste in your mouth if you get hit with that finish. I don't want to get skid mark.
Then you get the finish grapple, the victory lane, +2 to grapple, draw 2. So if your opponent stops and kicks out, at least you're getting a card when it matters.
What's the skill, the grapple? What is the Kid Fresh's grapple though?
7.
So you get a 9 on a crab meter 0. That's a tough roll to get out of. A crab meter 1, that's almost a kill right there.
Right. Then here, I believe, is the killer. The finish submission, pole position. 3 to power, which makes it an 8 power, and an 8 submission. Or if this game is the first turn of, if this is the first turn of the game, this card is also elite.
Pole position.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
Bobby's got naughty thoughts in his
EC3.
mind thinking about pole positions. No. This is in race car driving. The person that gets to sit out front, the leader at the start of the match.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can definitely, like Harvey said, see a lot of options running with this. With all, like you said, schoolboy rolls and all that. You could have an 8-9 finishers in this deck.
Yeah, oh yeah, those conditional finishes could be ridiculous. You get into a stipulation match where you got like no DQ, you got some really ludicrous finishes that could be thrown in there that they become live at like the crab meters 3 or something.
The worst stipulation for Kid Fresh would be a steel cage.
Because you can't take nothing back.
Nope.
Yeah, and probably the best on the list would be the like the lumberjack match.
Or
Because
TLC.
Maybe TLC, but constantly with the lumberjack match, there'd be no DQ or no discard. So constantly bearing those cards back, it would be auto recursion.
Yep.
Yeah, he can be nasty in that format because he just every time he roll agility, there's a finish.
Wow.
So, we'd like to thank you, Harvey, for coming on. You got any? Does the ladies' man have any big plans this weekend?
The ladies' man always has plans. Harvey Luster's Little Black Books, you've seen it's not just one book. Harvey Luster has a whole shelf of volumes. And
The encyclopedia.
The illustrious one has 4 cell phones just to keep up with all the text messages. At this rate, Harvey Luster gonna have to hire the Bobby Ohio as an assistant to help him keep up with all the ladies.
Listen. I was just about to make a reference to if you need me to come out there and help you rearrange those books or anything, with all those ladies, you need some help with them. We can all go out and eat.
Yeah, and see,
like food.
Instead of wearing the normal, the floral pattern, the hibiscus, the wine flowers, everything Harvey Luster knows the ladies like. Tonight Harvey Luster wore a little something different with the bandana hair. Went with the the animal print here. This is like a leopard or something. It's kind of symbolic of the animal magnetism that he apparently has. And
that belt definitely gave the ladies more of a reason to love you. We want to thank you for coming on and joining us, man.
Yeah, ladies love the bling, man. Yeah. Harvey Luster's dance card will be full for quite a while here, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having the illustrious one here tonight to discuss, the deck build and just hang out for a bit.
Thank you. We'll be right back with something huge. First time in the SRG universe. We will be back, and you guys will be thoroughly pleasured.
Hey guys, so today we're going to be making chocolate.